Hello and welcome back. We are now in lesson 2 of money, mayhem, and mystery. And even if at this point in your life you're retired or you're just living off of income, this is also a good lesson on the money part to really understand and think through. And this concept, I'm actually going to utilize the PowerPoint to better illustrate about spending compounding and saving compounding. So you want to make sure that you're saving enough early on, and then you'll have more later instead of spending earlier. And I'm not suggesting that you just save and never spend and not live your life today. We don't want to make it so that you're not living a life that you love today and in the future. So let's go into the PowerPoint here, showing how the saving and spending doubling happens. So here's an example of being able to start with $100. And this could mean $1,000 or $100,000, but it's easy to look at the $100 number. And as it doubles, and the doubling can happen because you are saving, you're putting money into an IRA in your savings, etc. You get some interest and or dividends in the holdings that you have, or you actually have a little bit of growth from some stock or mutual funds or other things that are growing over time. So over time, whether that's days, months, years, or decades, you do have a doubling effect. And when we have $100 going to $200, now we have that $200 that gets to be compounded. And so the doubling happens at $400. And you can see that the numbers go on for many years, decades, etc. So my illustrating this for you is, what if we took and bought a $100 item in our fourth double? So instead of $800 here, now we have $700. So we've bought a $100 item. We absolutely had to have it. It was the best thing ever. We'll never get it at this price ever again. And we had to have it. So you can see, instead of the 800, we look out here and we would have, in this example, 358,000 way out here instead of the 409. This is our original doubling, and we bought $100 item in the fourth double. Now, what if we waited and we get the same item, but now we're going to do it in the ninth double? And we don't know what year that is, but it's later in our life. But we waited. Now we're going to take it out of this doubling here. So it's $150 at this point because we have inflation. Just let's say it just costs more because it's later in our lives and we have some inflation. So we bought the same item in the ninth double instead. So we have the $25,450 here instead of $25,600 in the original doubling. And if we bought it at the fourth doubling in this area, we had $22,400. Now, this is a fairly simple concept, but my going through each of these items, you could pause the video and maybe take a look at it and study it a little bit more, but I'm going to go on from here. So, but really what this shows you is that if you wait a while and spend the money later, you get really close to the same numbers if you just never spent. And if you do spend it earlier, buying the $100 in the fourth doubling, out here where we have, 800 here, we only have 700 here. But waiting a little while longer, we have 800,000 here. Let me get to instead of the PowerPoint, let's go ahead and talk about backwards budgeting. A lot of people do backwards budgeting, and what does that mean? Well, even young people, even older people will say, I have X amount of income. I want to be able to live in this type of house or apartment. I want to have this kind of car, this kind of furniture. And then we find out what's left over. Instead, we should look at what should we be saving for the future. And then we will only spend the remaining amount. And I suggest that you, as you are making income and you have a job or income where you're saving for later, that you save at least 10% for yourself. So paying yourself 10% first, and that goes into some kind of savings or investment or whatever's right for you for the future. This is when you will no longer be working and no longer bringing any income in. Then you can have the remaining amount, whether that's 90% to spend on all those things, Or I suggest having another 5% out of the income that you get every month and save that into something where you save it for the travel or some other things that you're going to do in the next month, 2, or year. But that 10% is only to be used as it grows and compounds over the years. You're only going to use that when you are retired or in your golden years, as they might say. Now, let's move into mayhems. We had money, mayhem, and mystery. In the mayhem, things might happen in life that you don't expect, like, you have a house or a car expense that you didn't expect, like a roof replacement or a transmission in your car. You could even have a happy mayhem, right? You might get some inheritance that you weren't expecting, or something larger than you thought, that you would have money coming in. So these are all wonderful things that you can lean on your advocate to do through that mayhem. Now, what's the mystery? The mystery is living into a future that you love and you have no idea really what it is. Enjoy some of the surprises. The difference is between the expectations and possibilities. If you have an expectation something will happen and it doesn't happen, what's that? Usually it's upset. It didn't happen. But if it's a possibility that something can happen, if it's a possibility and it doesn't happen, what is it? It's still possible. So shift your thinking there about expecting something at a certain time and what it's going to be to it's possible this could happen. And if it doesn't, then you know that it's still possible. Maybe a little disappointing. But if you have no or low expectations, you will have a bigger, better reality of new situations that you can live into. And some of the mystery and the mayhem can be things around if you've never done it before, in like selling a house or a car. And you put your house up and you get an offer that's way lower than you thought, or some other upset around selling the house. It's something that you can have emotions around. And if you have an advocate who can help you through that, it's even better. So you're getting new strengths through all of this. You're getting that new superpower, as one widow had said to me. Rely on those trusted advocates through all of this. And I look forward to seeing you at our next lesson.